I was staring at my wife's phone, watching a video of her kissing another man in what looked like a hotel room, when my 6-year-old daughter asked me why I was crying. The phone wasn't even supposed to be in my hands. Rachel had left it on the kitchen counter that Tuesday morning, rushing out to her early yoga class without it. Something that should have been my first clue, since my wife treated her phone like a vital organ. But I just figured I'd drop it off at her studio on my way to work. Simple. Thoughtful. The kind of thing a good husband does. I wish I'd thrown it in the trash instead. The notification had popped up while I was setting it on the passenger seat. A message preview from someone named Jay with a fire emoji next to the name. The preview showed just enough. Can't wait to feel you again tonight. My hands went cold. 10 years of marriage, and I'd never once looked through Rachel's phone. Never had a reason to. We had what everyone called the perfect marriage, the kind other couples envied at dinner parties. High school sweethearts who'd made it work. 2 beautiful kids. A house in the suburbs of Charlotte with a mortgage we were actually ahead on. Date nights every Friday. Family game nights on Sundays. I'd trusted her completely. But that message sat there like a bomb, and my finger hovered over the screen for maybe 30 seconds before I swiped it open. Her passcode was our anniversary, 0614, which somehow made what I was about to find even worse. The messages with Jay went back 4 months. 4 months of my wife planning meetups, sending photos I'd never seen, talking about me like I was some obstacle to work around. He's taken the kids to his mom's this weekend, one message read. We'll have the whole day. That had been 3 weeks ago. The weekend I'd given her a break because she'd seemed stressed. I'd packed up Emma and Tyler, driven 2 hours to my mother's place in Columbia, and spent the weekend wrangling 2 kids solo while Rachel had her me time. She'd been having me time with someone named Justin Hartley, according to his contact info. The name meant nothing to me then. It would mean everything soon enough. I'd found the videos in a hidden folder, the kind you had to know existed to access. Rachel had been careful, but not careful enough. 3 videos, all from different hotel rooms. All showing my wife with a man I'd never seen before. Tall, athletic, probably mid-30s, with the kind of cocky smile that probably worked on a lot of women. It had definitely worked on mine. The most recent video was from 4 days ago. Sunday night. Rachel had said she was going to her book club. I'd believed her because why wouldn't I? We'd kissed goodbye at the door. She'd told me she loved me. I'd helped Tyler with his math homework and put both kids to bed, then fallen asleep watching a basketball game, never knowing my wife was in a hotel room downtown doing things that made my stomach turn. I'd sat in my car in our driveway for 20 minutes, watching those videos on a loop like some kind of masochist before I'd finally gone inside. My brain couldn't process it. This was Rachel. My Rachel. The woman who cried during commercials with puppies. Who'd held my hand through my father's funeral. Who'd given me 2 perfect children and built a life with me that I'd thought was unshakable. The woman who was apparently living a double life. Emma found me in the kitchen, still holding the phone, tears running down my face that I didn't even realize were there. It was 4:30 in the afternoon. I'd been sitting there for 6 hours, missing work, missing lunch, missing everything except the slow-motion collapse of my entire world. Daddy, why are you sad? I'd wiped my face fast, forced a smile that probably looked deranged. Just watching a sad movie, sweetheart. Where's your brother? Playing video games. Can I have a snack? I'd made her apple slices with peanut butter on autopilot, my hands moving while my brain screamed. Emma had taken her plate to the living room, and I'd been alone again with Rachel's phone and the evidence of her betrayal. That's when I'd started taking screenshots. Methodical, calm. Every message, every photo, every video. I'd created a new email account right there on my phone, one Rachel didn't know about, and sent everything to myself. Then I'd gone through her other apps, found more messages on Instagram, buried in a hidden conversation, found calendar entries that didn't match what she'd told me, found receipts in her email for hotel rooms and dinners at restaurants we'd never been to together. By the time Rachel came home at 6, from actual yoga this time apparently, I had a complete picture of the last 4 months of her affair. I also had a plan, though I didn't know it yet. "Hey babe," she'd called out, all sunshine and smiles, kissing my cheek like she hadn't been betraying me since February. "You're home early. Everything okay?" I'd handed her the phone. "You forgot this." "Oh my God, thank you. I felt naked without it all day." She'd laughed, completely oblivious, scrolling through her notifications. "Did you eat?" "I'm starving." I'd watched her, this woman I'd known since we were 16, and felt like I was looking at a stranger. How was she this good at lying? How long had she been this good at it? "I'll order pizza," I'd said, my voice somehow steady. "You want your usual?" "Perfect. I'm going to shower first." And she'd walked upstairs, phone in hand, probably to message Justin about how close she'd just come to getting caught, while I stood in our kitchen and planned my next move. I called in sick to work the next morning. First time in 3 years. Rachel kissed my forehead before she left, told me to get some rest, that I'd been looking pale. Her hand lingered on my shoulder. I wondered if she could feel me flinching under her touch. "I'll pick up some soup on my way home," she said. "That chicken one you like?" "Thanks, babe." The words tasted like ash. I waited until her car pulled out of the driveway. Waited another 10 minutes to be sure she wouldn't come back for something she'd forgotten. Then I grabbed my laptop and started making calls. First call, divorce attorney. I'd searched for 2 hours the night before, reading reviews, looking for someone who specialized in high-conflict cases. Someone who wouldn't flinch at what I was about to show them. Law offices of Patricia Brennan. "Hi, I need to schedule a consultation, as soon as possible." "May I ask what this is regarding?" "Divorce. I have extensive documentation." There was a pause. Typing. "Mr. Thompson, David Thompson." "Mr. Thompson, I have an opening tomorrow at 2 p.m. Does that work?" Tomorrow felt like a year away. "I'll be there." Second call was harder. I stared at my phone for 20 minutes before I could make myself dial. "Hey man," my brother's voice, bright and cheerful. "What's up?" "Kevin, you busy right now?" "I'm at work, but I can talk." "What's going on? You sound weird." I hadn't planned what to say, hadn't rehearsed it. The words just came out. "Rachel's cheating on me." Silence. Then, "What?" "I found her phone yesterday. Messages, videos, everything. It's been going on for 4 months." "Holy," he caught himself. "Are you sure? I mean, absolutely sure?" "I spent 6 hours going through her phone, Kev. I'm sure." More silence. I could hear office sounds in the background. Someone laughing. Normal life continuing while mine imploded. "Where are you right now?" "Home. Called in sick." "Don't move, I'm coming over." "You don't have to." "Shut up, I'm leaving now." He hung up. I sat there with the phone in my hand, staring at nothing. The house felt different now. Every surface, every piece of furniture, we'd picked them out together. That couch where we'd fallen asleep watching movies. The kitchen table where we ate breakfast as a family every Saturday morning. The framed photo on the mantle from our wedding day. Rachel in white. Both of us so stupidly happy. All of it contaminated. My phone buzzed. Text from Rachel. "How are you feeling? Want me to come home at lunch?" I typed back, "No, I'm sleeping. Don't worry about me." 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. "Okay, love you, feel better." I set the phone down before I could throw it across the room. Kevin showed up 40 minutes later with coffee and a bag from the diner on 5th Street. He took one look at me and his face did something complicated. "You look like hell." "Didn't sleep much." He set the bag on the counter, pulled out 2 breakfast sandwiches. Eat. When's the last time you ate anything? I couldn't remember. Yesterday lunch, maybe. Before. Not hungry. Don't care. Eat. I unwrapped the sandwich mechanically, took a bite. It could have been cardboard for all I tasted it. But Kevin watched me until I'd eaten half, so I kept going. Show me, he said finally. I pulled up the secret email account on my laptop, the one I'd created yesterday. Turned the screen toward him. He scrolled in silence, his expression getting darker with each message, each photo. Jesus Christ, he muttered. Rachel, I can't. This is Rachel. Yeah? She was at our place for Tyler's birthday last month. She brought that cake, the one with the dinosaurs. She was so... He trailed off, shaking his head. How are you this calm? I'm not calm. You seem calm. I'm in shock. There's a difference. He kept scrolling, stopped at one of the messages. The kids are at his mother's this weekend. We have the whole house. He looked up at me. That was when you took them to Columbia. She had him here. Yeah. Kevin's jaw tightened. In your house. In your bed. I hadn't let myself think about that part. Hadn't let myself imagine it. Now the image forced its way in. Rachel and him. In the bedroom upstairs. In the bed where I slept every night. I need to get out of here, I said suddenly. I can't. I need to not be here right now. Okay, yeah, let's go. We ended up at the park near the elementary school, the one with the walking trail around the lake. It was cold, overcast, threatening rain. Nobody else was stupid enough to be out here. We walked in silence for a while. Kevin kept looking at me like he expected me to fall apart. What's the plan? He asked finally. Lawyer tomorrow. File for divorce. Go for full custody. Full custody? She brought her boyfriend into our house while our kids were gone. What kind of mother does that? Kevin didn't argue. What about telling her? When are you going to confront her? I'm not. He stopped walking. What? I'm not confronting her. I'm not giving her a chance to explain or make excuses or try to fix it. I'm getting everything in order first. Lawyer, financials, custody plan. Then she gets served. David. She doesn't get to see it coming. She doesn't get to prepare. I heard my voice, flat and cold, and barely recognized it. She's been lying to my face for 4 months, sleeping next to me every night, kissing me goodbye every morning, playing happy family while she... I stopped, breathed. She doesn't get advance warning. Kevin studied my face. Okay, he said quietly. Okay. We kept walking. The lake was gray, choppy with wind. A few ducks huddled near the shore. You need to be smart about this, Kevin said. Document everything. Don't do anything that could look bad in court. Don't lose your temper, don't confront the guy, don't... I know. Do you? Because I know you, and I know how you get when you're angry. You go quiet and cold and then you do something stupid. Like what? Like the time Jake Mitchell keyed your car senior year and you slashed all 4 of his tires. That was different. How? That was a car. This is my life. My kids. Exactly. Which is why you need to be smarter than you've ever been. No revenge fantasies. No confrontations. Just cold, legal strategy. He was right. I knew he was right. But there was something burning in my chest. Something that wanted to hurt her the way she'd hurt me. Wanted to make her feel it. I'll be smart, I said. Promise me. I promise. We circled the lake twice before heading back to the parking lot. Kevin made me promise to call him if I needed anything, anytime, day or night. Made me promise to eat something for dinner. Made me promise not to do anything stupid before the lawyer meeting tomorrow. I promised everything he asked. Meant most of it. Back home, the house was still empty. Wouldn't be for long. Emma and Tyler got home at 3:30. I had 2 hours. I went through the house room by room, looking at everything with new eyes. Our wedding album on the bookshelf. Rachel's yoga mat by the front door. The calendar on the fridge with her book club marked every other Thursday. Book club. Right. I pulled out my phone, pulled up the screenshots. Found the messages from 4 days ago, the night she'd come home at 11:30 smelling like hotel soap. Can't wait to see you tonight. Room 412. Counting down the hours. Wear that thing I like. I stared at the messages until my vision blurred. Then I put the phone away, went upstairs, and started gathering documents, bank statements, tax returns, the mortgage papers, title to both cars, everything I'd need for tomorrow. I was methodical, organized, calm. Kevin would have been proud. I was sitting in my car outside Kevin's apartment when my phone buzzed. Rachel. Running late. Book club went long. Be home around 9:30. Love you. Book club. Right. I stared at the message, wondering which hotel they were at this time, which position she'd be in when she finally bothered to check the time and realized she needed to get home to her husband and kids. I didn't respond. Just set the phone face down on my lap and looked up at Kevin's building. He'd texted me an hour ago. Come over, bring beer, we need to talk. The "we need to talk" part had my stomach in knots. Kevin didn't do serious conversations. Kevin did sarcasm and sports commentary and the occasional grunt of acknowledgement. If he wanted to talk, something was wrong. I grabbed the six-pack from the passenger seat and headed up. He opened the door before I could knock. You look like hell. Good to see you too. Kevin's apartment was exactly what you'd expect from a 32-year-old bachelor who worked construction. Minimal furniture, massive TV, pizza boxes on the counter that might have been there since last week. He cleared some laundry off the couch and gestured for me to sit. I handed him a beer. He twisted it open, took a long drink, then set it down without looking at me. So, he said, I need to tell you something. My chest tightened. What? He pulled out his phone, swiped a few times, then turned it toward me. I saw her. Rachel. 2 days ago. The screen showed a video, paused on a freeze frame. I could make out what looked like a cafe, one of those trendy places downtown with exposed brick and overpriced coffee. The image was a little shaky, like Kevin had been trying to be subtle with his phone. Kevin, what? Just watch. He hit play. The video started with Kevin's hand adjusting the angle, then settled on a table near the window. Rachel sat across from a man I recognized immediately from the photos I'd found. Justin Hartley. He was leaning back in his chair, completely relaxed, one arm draped over the back of the seat next to him. Rachel was leaning forward, elbows on the table, laughing at something he'd just said. The video had no sound. Kevin must have been sitting too far away to pick up their voices. But I didn't need sound to see the way Rachel touched Justin's hand, the way she smiled at him, that same smile she'd given me across the dinner table last night when I'd asked about her day. Keep watching, Kevin said quietly. On screen, Rachel said something. Justin responded. Then Rachel glanced around the cafe, a quick, furtive look, before leaning in closer. My hands clenched into fists. They talked for another minute in the video. Rachel's lips moved, then Justin's. They were completely comfortable with each other. No nervousness, no guilt. Just two people having coffee like they had every right to be there together. Then Kevin's hand moved on screen, adjusting the angle again, zooming in slightly. The video focused on their faces, on their mouths. I can read lips, Kevin said beside me. Did you know that? I turned to stare at him. What? Yeah. He took another drink of his beer, still not looking at me. Lost most of my hearing in my left ear after that construction accident 3 years ago. Been learning to read lips ever since. Helps at work when it's too loud to hear anything anyway. The video was still playing. Rachel's mouth moved silently on screen. She didn't know I was there, Kevin continued. I was meeting a buddy for lunch, and I saw her through the window, with him. I almost left, but then I thought. He paused. I thought you should know what they were saying. My throat had gone completely dry. And? Kevin reached over and paused the video, rewound it slightly, pointed at the screen. Right here, she says, he still doesn't suspect anything. Then the guy, Justin, right? He says, you're sure? And she says, Kevin's jaw tightened. David's clueless. He trusts me completely. The room tilted slightly. I set my beer down before I could drop it. There's more, Kevin said. He let the video play forward. She tells him about last weekend, when you took the kids to Mom's house. She says, I had him in our bed for 3 hours. David came home and didn't notice a thing. I was going to be sick. Justin asks if she feels bad about it. And Rachel. Kevin stopped the video again. Looked at me for the first time since I'd sat down. She laughs. She actually laughs and says, why would I feel bad? David's sweet, but he's boring. You make me feel alive. The words hit like physical blows. Sweet, but boring. Clueless. David came home and didn't notice a thing. I'm sorry, Kevin said. I know you didn't want to confront her yet, but I couldn't just sit on this. You needed to see it. I couldn't speak, couldn't move. Just stared at the frozen image of my wife's face, caught mid-laugh at my expense. There's one more part. Kevin fast-forwarded through a few seconds. Right at the end, before they left. He let it play. Rachel said something and Justin responded. Then Rachel said something else, and this time Kevin didn't need to translate. I could see it clearly on her lips. I love you too. Kevin turned off the phone. We sat in silence. The TV was on mute in the background, some basketball game neither of us were watching. My beer was getting warm in my hand. I couldn't remember picking it back up. I recorded the whole thing, Kevin finally said. 15 minutes. Most of it's just them talking about normal stuff, his work, her fake book club. But the important parts. He set his phone on the coffee table between us. It's all there, if you want it. Send it to me, I heard myself say. My voice sounded hollow. Send everything. Already did. Send it to that email address you gave me, the secure one. I nodded. Couldn't quite process what that meant yet. More evidence. More proof that my wife was not only cheating on me, but actively laughing about how stupid I was. How easy I was to fool. Sweet but boring. David's clueless. I wanted to punch him, Kevin said quietly. Right there in the cafe. I wanted to walk over and break his nose, but I figured. He shrugged. I figured the video would be more useful. It is, I managed. Thank you. You still planning to wait? Serve her papers without warning? I thought about Rachel's text. Running late. Book club went long. I thought about her coming home tonight, kissing me hello, asking about my day. Lying to my face the same way she'd been lying for 4 months. Yeah, I said. I'm still waiting? Kevin studied me for a long moment. You're scarier than I thought, you know that? What? Most guys would have lost it by now. Confronted her. Thrown her stuff on the lawn. Something. He shook his head. But you're just collecting evidence. Planning. It's cold, man. She had him in our bed, I said flatly. In the bed where my kids were conceived. Where Emma crawls in on Saturday mornings to wake us up. And she laughed about it. Kevin didn't respond. So yeah, I continued. I'm being cold. Because when I'm done, she's not going to have anything left to laugh about. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Rachel. Actually, heading home now. See you in 20. XO. 20 minutes. She'd be home in 20 minutes, probably smelling like him, definitely lying about where she'd been. And I'd smile and ask about book club and pretend I didn't know she'd just left whatever hotel room they'd been in. I stood up. I need to go. Dave, I'm fine. I just need to be home when she gets there. Can't give her any reason to suspect. Kevin walked me to the door, put a hand on my shoulder before I could leave. That promise you made me, about not doing anything stupid. I remember. Does that still stand, after seeing the video? I met his eyes. I'm not going to confront her, if that's what you're asking. I'm not going to blow up my own case because I can't control my temper. That's not what I asked. I pulled away from his grip. The promise stands. I'm not going to do anything that'll hurt my chances of getting full custody of my kids. That's the only thing that matters now. Kevin didn't look convinced, but he let me go. I made it to my car before the shaking started. Sat in the driver's seat with my hands clenched on the steering wheel, breathing slowly through my nose until the urge to scream passed. Sweet but boring. Clueless. I love you too. My phone buzzed with an email notification. Kevin had sent the video file with a subject line that just said, "I'm sorry, brother." I didn't open it, didn't need to watch it again. Every word Rachel had said was already burned into my brain. Instead, I started the car and headed home. I had 19 minutes to get there before my wife arrived. 19 minutes to make sure everything looked normal. To be the sweet, boring, clueless husband she thought I was. Just a little while longer. I sat in my car outside Emma's school, watching parents stream toward the entrance for pickup. Kevin's video was still playing on a loop in my head. Rachel's voice, those words she'd said about me, sweet but boring, clueless, they'd burrowed under my skin like splinters. 3 hours, in our bed. While I was at work, probably answering her texts about what to make for dinner. My phone buzzed. Rachel. Running late. Can you grab the kids? Book club went long. Book club, right. I typed back, got them, no problem. Emma climbed into the back seat 5 minutes later, her backpack nearly as big as she was. Tyler followed, already complaining about a math test. Did Mom have book club again? Emma asked, buckling herself in. Yeah, sweetie. She has book club a lot now. I met her eyes in the rearview mirror. 6 years old and already noticing patterns. She does, doesn't she? Tyler kicked the back of my seat. Can we get McDonald's? Not today, buddy. The drive home took 12 minutes. I made mac and cheese from a box, helped Tyler with fractions, and let Emma watch her tablet while I stood at the kitchen counter, staring at nothing. Rachel came home at 5:47 p.m. I knew because I'd started tracking everything now. Times, dates, lies. She walked in smiling, her hair slightly messed up in a way that made my stomach turn. Hey, babe. She kissed my cheek. I could smell unfamiliar cologne mixed with her perfume. Sorry I'm late. We got really into discussing the book. Which book was it again? She didn't even hesitate. The Night Circus. Have you heard of it? I had. Rachel's book club had supposedly read it 8 months ago. I remembered because she'd left the book on the coffee table for 3 weeks. Sounds good, I said. She grabbed a water from the fridge, leaned against the counter. How was your day? Fine. Kevin stopped by the office. Her expression didn't change. Oh yeah? How's he doing? Good. He wanted to grab coffee this weekend. Catch up. That's nice. You should go. She smiled at me, completely at ease. You don't see him enough. I wanted to tell her. Right then, I wanted to pull out my phone and show her Kevin's video, watch her face collapse when she realized her mistake. That she'd forgotten the deaf-mute brother could read every word off her lips. Instead, I said, yeah, maybe I will. She moved closer, wrapped her arms around my waist. You're such a good brother. And a good dad. She kissed me again, longer this time. I'm lucky. My hands stayed at my sides. I didn't trust myself to touch her. I should check on the kids, I said, pulling away. Something flickered across her face. Confusion, maybe, or suspicion, but it vanished quickly. Okay, I'll start dinner. I walked upstairs, locked myself in the bathroom, and sat on the edge of the tub. My hands were shaking. 4 days since I'd found her phone. 4 days of this performance, this grotesque pantomime of our marriage. Patricia Brennan had emailed me that morning. She wanted to meet again Friday to discuss strategy. She'd reviewed Kevin's video, the screenshots, everything. Her email had been brief and professional, but I could read between the lines. I had enough to bury Rachel in court. The problem was, I didn't just want to win in court. I wanted her to feel what I felt. This specific hollow ache, this sensation of the ground disappearing beneath my feet. I wanted her to understand what she'd done, not just to me, but to Emma and Tyler, to the life we'd built. But more than that, and this was the thought that kept me up at night, I wanted her to know that I'd known, that I'd walked around for days with this knowledge, watching her lie to my face, and she'd never suspected a thing. Sweet but boring, clueless. I wasn't clueless anymore. My phone buzzed. Kevin. You doing okay? I typed back. Define okay. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Want me to come over? No, Rachel's here. That's what I'm worried about. I stared at his message. Kevin knew me better than anyone. We'd grown up together, learned to communicate in ways that went beyond words. He could always tell when I was about to do something stupid. I'm fine, just playing the part. David. Don't do anything without talking to me first. I won't. But even as I sent it, I wasn't sure it was true. Dinner was spaghetti. Rachel had made it from scratch, the way she used to when we were first married. She served it with garlic bread and salad, poured me a glass of wine without asking. What's the occasion? I asked. She shrugged, smiling. No occasion, just felt like cooking. We ate together at the table, all 4 of us. Emma talked about her art project. Tyler complained about his teacher. Rachel laughed at all the right moments, asked all the right questions. She reached over twice to squeeze my hand. I watched her like I was watching a stranger. Studied the way she tilted her head when Tyler spoke, the way she brushed hair behind her ear. 10 years of marriage, and I was seeing her for the first time. Or maybe I was seeing her clearly for the first time. After dinner, she did the dishes while I put the kids to bed. Emma wanted 3 stories instead of 2. Tyler needed water, then had to use the bathroom, then needed water again. By the time I came back downstairs, it was almost 9. Rachel was on the couch, her laptop open, a glass of wine in her hand. Come sit with me, she said, patting the cushion beside her. I sat. She curled into my side, her head on my shoulder. We'd sat like this 1,000 times. It used to feel comfortable, natural. Now it felt like acting. I've been thinking, she said softly. We should plan a trip, just the 2 of us. Maybe for our anniversary? Our anniversary was 3 months away. August 14th. The passcode to her phone. Where would you want to go? I asked. I don't know. Somewhere we've never been. Maybe Charleston? We could do a long weekend, get a nice hotel, actually relax. A nice hotel, like the ones in her photo gallery with Justin. That could be good, I said. She lifted her head, looked at me. You seem distant lately. Is everything okay? The question was so absurd I almost laughed. Instead, I kissed her forehead. Just work stress? Big project coming up? You work too hard. Her hand found mine, laced our fingers together. I worry about you sometimes. I'm fine, Rach, really. She studied my face for a long moment, and I wondered if she could see it. The knowledge, the rage, the careful control I was exerting over every word and gesture. But then she smiled, kissed me, and went back to her laptop. I sat there beside her, watching TV I wasn't processing, while my mind ran through scenarios. Patricia wanted to move fast once we filed. Serve Rachel the papers, get a temporary custody arrangement in place, freeze our assets, standard procedure in contested divorces. But I kept thinking about Kevin's video, about Rachel laughing. So comfortable, so confident that I'd never find out, that she'd gotten away with it. My phone was in my pocket. All the evidence was there, backed up in 3 different places. Screenshots, videos, timestamps. A 4-month chronicle of betrayal, documented in excruciating detail. I could end this tomorrow. Walk into Patricia's office, sign the papers, have Rachel served by the end of the week. But I wasn't ready yet. I wanted more. More evidence, more documentation, more time watching her lie, building my case until it was absolutely airtight. Because when this finally happened, when I finally pulled the trigger, I wanted to make sure Rachel understood exactly how thoroughly she'd underestimated me. Sweet, but boring. Clueless. She had no idea what was coming. And that, I was starting to realize, was its own kind of power. The video sat on my laptop like a loaded gun. I'd watched it 17 times since Kevin sent it to me 3 days ago. Each viewing revealed something new. Some micro-expression on Rachel's face, some casual cruelty in how she laughed when describing our life together. The way she touched Justin's hand across the table. The way her whole face lit up when she talked about him. She'd never looked at me like that. Not even in the beginning. Kevin had captured 12 minutes of conversation. 12 minutes of my wife and her lover, sitting in a cafe on Tryon Street at 2 in the afternoon on a Thursday, completely unguarded because they thought the deaf guy 3 tables over couldn't hear them. The irony would have been funny if it didn't make me want to put my fist through a wall. I was watching it again, number 18, when my phone buzzed. Kevin. You doing okay? I typed back. Fine. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. That's what worries me. You're too fine, too calm. What do you want me to do? Fall apart? I want you to remember you've got kids, whatever you're planning. I didn't respond, just set the phone face down and pressed play again. Can't believe he still doesn't know, Rachel was saying, leaning back in her chair. The video quality was surprisingly good. Kevin had positioned himself perfectly, phone propped against a water glass like he was just scrolling through social media. I literally left my yoga mat in the car yesterday. Didn't even bring it in the house. He didn't notice. Justin grinned. That same cocky smile I'd seen in the photos. Maybe he's not as clueless as you think. Trust me, he is. Rachel stirred her coffee. David sees what he wants to see. Always has. It's actually kind of, I don't know, sad? Sad for him, good for us. She laughed. Actually laughed. My finger hovered over the pause button, but I let it play. I'd made myself a rule. Watch it all the way through every time. No skipping the worst parts. I needed to remember exactly who she was. When are you going to tell him? Justin asked. Rachel's smile faded. I don't know. Soon, maybe. After Emma's birthday party next month. I don't want to ruin that for her. So, another month of sneaking around? Is that a problem? Her voice took on an edge. I thought you liked the sneaking around. I do. But I also like the idea of not having to sneak, of just being together, openly. Rachel reached across the table, laced her fingers through his. I know, me too. It's just complicated. Because of the kids? Because of everything. The house, the money, custody. She shook her head. David's going to make it difficult. He'll probably try for full custody, paint me as some terrible mother. My jaw clenched. Damn right I would. You're not a terrible mother, Justin said. I know that. But leaving your husband for another man doesn't exactly make you look good in family court, especially in North Carolina. I've been reading about it. There's still alienation of affection laws here. David could actually sue you. Justin pulled his hand back. What? Relax. He won't. He doesn't have the spine for it. Rachel sipped her coffee. He'll be hurt, he'll probably cry, but eventually he'll just accept it. That's what David does. He accepts things. I paused the video. Doesn't have the spine for it. I sat there in my car. I'd started watching the video here, in the garage, where Rachel couldn't walk in on me, and felt something cold and hard settle in my chest. She thought she knew me. Thought she had me all figured out. Sweet, boring, spineless David who'd just roll over and accept whatever she decided to do. I pulled up Patricia's number. She answered on the second ring. David, I was just thinking about you. How are you holding up? I need to know about alienation of affection. A pause. Okay. North Carolina is one of the few states that still recognizes it. Essentially, you can sue a third party for interfering with your marriage. But David, I have to tell you, these cases are expensive, time-consuming, and emotionally draining. The evidentiary burden is high, and even if you win, what do I need to prove? Another pause, longer this time. When Patricia spoke again, her voice was careful. You need to prove that you had a loving marriage, that the third party, Justin in this case, engaged in conduct that interfered with that marriage, and that his actions caused the loss of affection between you and Rachel. I have texts where she tells him she loves him, photos of them together, a video of them discussing the affair in public. That's very strong evidence for the affair itself. For alienation of affection, you'd also need to demonstrate what your marriage was like before. Witnesses who can testify that you were happy, that Rachel was affectionate and committed. Evidence that the change in her behavior coincided with Justin's involvement. I thought about our friends, the couples we had dinner with. Rachel's sister, who told me just last month how lucky Rachel was to have me. The neighbors who saw us playing with the kids in the yard every weekend. I can get that. David, Patricia's voice sharpened. I need you to think carefully about this. Alienation of affection suits are about money, punitive damages. They're public, they're ugly, and they can backfire. If you're doing this for revenge, I'm doing this because she thinks I'm spineless, because she thinks I'll just accept it. Silence on the other end. She told her lover I don't have the spine to sue him, I continued. She's planning to tell me after Emma's birthday party next month, like she's doing me some kind of favor by waiting. She brought him into my house, Patricia. Into my bed. And she thinks I'm too weak to do anything about it. Okay? Patricia's voice was steady now. Professional. If you want to pursue this, we'll pursue it. But I need you to understand what you're signing up for. This will get messy. Rachel will hire her own attorney, a good one, and they'll try to prove your marriage was already failing. They'll dig into everything. Your finances, your relationship history, your parenting, every fight you've ever had, every imperfection in your marriage, they'll try to make you look bad too. Let them try. And Justin, he'll fight back. He has money? I thought about the photos, the expensive restaurants, the hotel suites. Yeah, he has money. Then he'll fight hard. These cases can take years and cost tens of thousands in legal fees. Even if you win, you might not collect anything if he declares bankruptcy or moves assets. I don't care about the money. Then what do you care about? I looked at the paused video on my laptop. Rachel's face froze in mid-laugh, Justin's hand reaching for hers. I want her to know she was wrong about me. I want her to see exactly what happens when you underestimate someone. Patricia was quiet for a long moment. All right, start documenting everything about your marriage before the affair. Photos, emails, cards, witness names, anything that shows you had a genuine, loving relationship. I'll start drafting the complaint. How long before we file? The divorce we can file any time. You have more than enough grounds. Alienation of affection. I'd want to build the strongest case possible first. Another few weeks, maybe a month. After Emma's birthday party, I thought. After Rachel thought she was going to drop her bomb. That works. We talked logistics for another 10 minutes, then I hung up and sat in the quiet garage. Through the door, I could hear the muffled sounds of the house. Rachel's voice calling something to Emma. Tyler's video game music. Normal family sounds. I pressed play on the video again. Doesn't have the spine for it, Rachel was saying. I watched until the end, until Kevin's recording cut off as he left the cafe. Then I closed the laptop and went inside. Rachel was in the kitchen, chopping vegetables for dinner. She looked up when I walked in, smiled that same warm smile I'd fallen in love with 15 years ago. Hey babe, how was work? Fine, I said. Long day. She crossed to me, stood on her toes to kiss my cheek. I didn't pull away, didn't flinch, just stood there and let her play her part. I was thinking, she said, returning to her cutting board. Maybe we could get away for a weekend soon, just the two of us. Your mom could watch the kids. Yeah? I leaned against the counter. What brought this on? She shrugged, not meeting my eyes. I don't know, just feel like we should spend more time together. Reconnect. Guilt, I realized. She was feeling guilty. Planning to leave me, but not quite ready to pull the trigger yet, so she was throwing me scraps. A weekend away. Quality time. Like that would somehow make what she was doing less terrible. That sounds nice, I said. Let me check my schedule. Great, she smiled again. I love you. The words should have hurt. Maybe a week ago they would have. But now, watching her lie so easily, I just felt that cold hardness in my chest expand a little more. Love you too, I said, and went to check on the kids. The video ended, and I sat in my car outside Kevin's apartment with my phone in my hand, staring at the black screen. 23 minutes of Rachel burying herself. 23 minutes of her laughing about me, planning her exit, admitting she'd brought him into our bed. I'd watched it twice already, couldn't stop myself. Kevin had texted me the file with just 3 words. I'm sorry, David. My little brother. Well, younger. Kevin was 31, only 3 years behind me. The accident that took his hearing happened when he was 17. Drunk driver ran a red light, T-boned his car. He'd learned to read lips during recovery, got so good at it most people forgot he couldn't hear them. Rachel certainly had. I forwarded the video to my secret email account, then deleted it from my messages with Kevin. Cleared the deleted folder, checked my sent messages to make sure nothing showed. Then I just sat there in the parking lot, engine off, watching a mom wrestle 2 kids into a minivan 3 spots over. Normal life. That used to be us. My phone buzzed. Rachel. Where are you? Dinner's almost ready. I checked the time. 6:40. I'd been sitting here for almost an hour. On my way, 10 minutes. I started the car and pulled out, taking the long way home. Needed the extra time to get my face right. The house smelled like garlic and tomatoes when I walked in. Rachel was at the stove, wooden spoon in hand, hair pulled back in a ponytail. She'd changed into yoga pants and one of my old college t-shirts, the domestic goddess routine. Hey, babe, she smiled over her shoulder. How's Kevin? Good, same as always. I set my keys in the bowl by the door. What are we having? Spaghetti. Emma requested meatballs. Rachel turned back to the stove, stirring the sauce. She's been talking about them all day. I walked up behind her, looked over her shoulder at the pot. Red sauce, bubbling gently. She leaned back against me, and I put my hands on her waist, felt her relax into me. Smells good, I said. 20 minutes ago, I'd watched her tell another man she was going to leave me. Now she was making spaghetti in my t-shirt, leaning against me like nothing was wrong. Should be ready in 5. She turned her head, kissed my cheek. Can you get the kids? They're in the playroom. I found Emma and Tyler building something with Legos, some kind of castle with a dragon. Emma looked up when I came in. Daddy, look what we made. That's awesome, Em. The dragon's scary. I crouched down next to them. Mom says dinner's ready. Go wash your hands. They stampeded past me toward the bathroom, arguing about whose turn it was to use the sink first. I stood there in the playroom, surrounded by toys and books and the normal debris of childhood, and felt the weight of what was coming settle on my shoulders. This was all going to blow up. Soon. And they'd be caught in the middle of it. Dinner was the usual chaos. Tyler spilled his milk. Emma talked non-stop about something that happened at school, some drama with her friend Olivia, and who got to be line leader. Rachel laughed and asked questions and wiped Tyler's face with a napkin. I ate my spaghetti and watched her perform. David, you okay? I looked up. Rachel was watching me, fork halfway to her mouth. Yeah, just tired. I twirled more pasta onto my fork. Long day? You've been quiet lately, she set her fork down. Is everything all right? Work stuff? The concern in her voice sounded genuine. Maybe it was. Maybe she could compartmentalize so completely that when she was here, she actually forgot about him, about what she was planning. Work's fine, just thinking about the Henderson account. The lie came easily now. Might need to travel to Atlanta next month. When next month? Not sure yet, probably the 3rd week. Rachel nodded, went back to her spaghetti. I watched her calculate, saw the moment she realized that would be after Emma's birthday party, after her planned exit timeline. That should be fine, she said. Just let me know when you know for sure. After dinner, I did dishes while Rachel got the kids ready for bed. Stood at the sink, hands in hot, soapy water, and thought about Patricia Brennan's question from this afternoon. When do you want to file? I'd told her I needed another week, maybe 2, wanted everything perfect, every piece of evidence documented and organized. But the truth was, I didn't know when I'd be ready to pull the trigger, to blow up our life. Rachel's life, I corrected myself. She already blew it up. I was just going to make sure everyone could see the crater. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I dried my hands and checked it. Kevin. You doing okay? Me. Yeah, thanks for getting that. Kevin. Took me 3 days to find them. Checked every coffee shop in a 5-mile radius of her yoga place. Me. You didn't have to do that. Kevin. Yes, I did. She's lying to you. Someone needed to prove it. I stared at his message. Kevin had never liked Rachel, not really. He was always polite, always civil, but I'd caught him watching her sometimes with this look I couldn't quite read. Now I wondered if he'd seen through her all along. Me. Don't tell anyone. Not yet. Kevin. Your call. But don't wait too long. She doesn't deserve your protection. I slipped the phone back in my pocket and finished the dishes. Upstairs, I could hear Rachel reading to Emma, her voice rising and falling with the story. Some princess book Emma loved. My phone buzzed again. Different number this time. Unknown. Is this David Thompson? I stared at it. Wrong number, probably. But something made me respond. Me. Who's asking? Unknown. This is Brian Hartley, Justin's brother. We need to talk. My heart kicked against my ribs. I looked toward the stairs, listening for Rachel, still reading. Me. About what? Unknown. About what my brother's doing with your wife. Can you meet tomorrow? Somewhere private. I read the message 3 times. Justin's brother. Reaching out to me. Me. Why? Unknown. Because he's ruining his life and I'm tired of watching it happen. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., Starbucks on Providence Road. I'll be wearing a Hornets cap. The messages stopped. I waited, but nothing else came through. This could be a trap. Justin finding out I knew, setting up some kind of confrontation. Or it could be exactly what it seemed like, a brother trying to stop a train wreck. Either way, I was going to that Starbucks. David? Rachel's voice from upstairs. Can you come say goodnight to Emma? I climbed the stairs, went into Emma's room. She was tucked in with her stuffed elephant, eyes already drooping. Night, Daddy. Night, sweetheart. I kissed her forehead, pulled the blanket up to her chin. Love you. Love you too. Rachel followed me out, pulled the door mostly closed. We checked on Tyler, already asleep, sprawled across his bed like he'd been dropped from a height, then went to our bedroom. Our bed, where she'd brought him. I brushed my teeth, changed into sweats and a t-shirt, and climbed in on my side. Rachel was already there, scrolling through her phone, probably texting him, making plans for their next meeting. She set the phone on her nightstand, turned toward me. You sure you're okay? You seem off. I'm fine, just tired. She studied my face for a moment, then nodded. Leaned over and kissed me. Her hand slid across my chest. We haven't had much time together lately, she said softly. The kids have been so demanding. I knew what she was suggesting, knew exactly what she wanted. And the rage that flared in my chest was so sudden, so intense, I had to close my eyes and count to 5. I'm exhausted, Rach. Rain check? She pulled back, and I caught the flash of irritation before she smoothed it away. Of course. You've been working so hard. She kissed my cheek, rolled over. Night, babe. Night. I lay there in the dark, listening to her breathing even out as she fell asleep. Thought about Brian Hartley and whatever he wanted to tell me tomorrow. Thought about the video on my phone, the evidence stacking up in my secret email account, the divorce papers Patricia Brennan was preparing. Thought about Rachel's timeline, Emma's birthday party, then her exit. I had 3 weeks. 3 weeks to decide when and how to detonate this bomb. Rachel shifted in her sleep, moved closer to me. Her hand found mine under the covers, fingers interlacing like they had 1,000 times before. I didn't pull away. Just lay there holding my wife's hand, planning her destruction, and waited for morning. The papers were served on a Tuesday morning, 2 days after Emma's birthday party. Rachel had been pouring coffee when the process server knocked. I'd taken the kids to school early that day. Didn't want them there for it. Kevin told me later that she'd called him first, hysterical, asking where I was. He'd said he didn't know. That was a lie. I was sitting in Patricia Brennan's office, signing the alienation of affection lawsuit against Justin Hartley. Brian Hartley had been right about everything when we'd met that morning 3 weeks ago. His brother was married too. Had 2 kids of his own. Brian had brought me copies of Justin's bank statements showing hotel charges, restaurant bills, even a jewelry purchase I'd never seen Rachel wear. He'd been documenting his brother's affair independently, trying to figure out how to tell Justin's wife. We'd made a deal that morning. I'd wait until after Emma's birthday to file. He'd make sure his sister-in-law got copies of everything the same day Rachel got served. Clean break. Everyone finds out at once. The custody hearing was brutal. Rachel's attorney tried to paint me as controlling, vengeful, using the lawsuit as evidence I was unstable. But Patricia had prepared me well. We had witnesses, neighbors, friends, Rachel's own sister who testified she'd seen Rachel coming home at odd hours, lying about where she'd been. We had the videos, the messages, the timeline showing Rachel had brought Justin into our home while our children slept upstairs. The judge awarded me primary custody. Rachel got supervised visitation pending a psychological evaluation. The alienation of affection case took 8 months. Justin's attorney fought hard, But Brian had given us the ammunition we needed. Bank records showing Justin had rented hotel rooms, credit card receipts, text messages Brian had pulled from Justin's iPad that backed up everything in Rachel's phone. The jury awarded me $150,000. I put every penny into college funds for Emma and Tyler. Justin's wife divorced him 2 months after Rachel and I separated. Last I heard, he'd moved to another state. Rachel tried to follow him, but the custody arrangement prevented her from leaving North Carolina. He cut contact. Apparently, the affair was less exciting when it stopped being a secret. Rachel lives in an apartment now, 20 minutes from our house. The house she'd wanted to keep, that she'd fought for in court, until the judge heard about what happened in our bedroom and awarded it to me instead. She sees the kids every other weekend, supervised by her mother. Emma asks sometimes why mommy can't come to her soccer games alone. I tell her it's complicated. She'll understand when she's older. Kevin moved into our guest room for 6 months after the divorce, helped me figure out how to be a single dad, taught me to braid Emma's hair, helped Tyler with homework, covered bedtime duty when I had to work late. He never said, "I told you so," even though he'd seen through Rachel from the beginning. I'm not the same person I was when I found that phone. That version of me died in the kitchen that Tuesday afternoon, watching videos of my wife with another man. What replaced him is harder, more careful, less trusting, but also stronger. Emma and Tyler are doing better now. Therapy helped. Time helped more. They've adjusted to the new normal. 2 houses, 2 bedrooms, a mother who sees them on a schedule instead of every day. They're resilient in ways I couldn't have imagined. Sometimes I think about Rachel's words in that cafe. Sweet but boring. Clueless. She'd been wrong about the clueless part, obviously. But the rest? Maybe she was right. Maybe I was boring. Maybe I did just accept things. But I learned something important. There's a difference between accepting things and choosing your battles carefully, between being sweet and being weak, between trusting someone and being a fool. Rachel taught me that love without verification is just faith. And faith, I've learned, is a luxury I can no longer afford. I don't hate her anymore. That fire burned out somewhere around month 4 of the custody battle. Now I just feel sorry for her. She'd had everything: a husband who adored her, 2 beautiful children, a life most people would envy. And she'd traded it for hotel rooms and lies and a man who disappeared the moment things got difficult. She'd gambled that I wouldn't fight back, that I'd be too hurt, too broken, too spineless to do anything but accept whatever she decided to do. She'd lost that bet. The truth is, nobody really knows what they're capable of until they're tested. Until someone they love looks them in the eye and lies without flinching. Until they're forced to choose between falling apart and fighting back. Rachel had thought she knew me. Thought she'd figured out exactly who I was after 10 years of marriage. She was wrong. And that mistake cost her everything. I don't know if there's a moral to this story. Maybe it's that people will always surprise you for better or worse. Maybe it's that actions have consequences, even when you think you're too clever to get caught. Maybe it's just that love isn't enough if it's only going one direction. Or maybe the lesson is simpler. Never underestimate a boring man with nothing left to lose. I'm rebuilding now, taking it one day at a time. Emma has a science fair project due next week. Tyler made the travel soccer team. I'm dating again, carefully, slowly, with my eyes wide open. Kevin says I'm too suspicious now, that I interrogate women like I'm conducting depositions. He's probably right. But I'd rather be suspicious than blindsided. Rather be cautious than clueless. The house still feels empty sometimes, even with the kids' noise filling it. But it's mine. Truly mine. Not contaminated by lies or betrayal or the ghost of what I thought my marriage was. Sometimes that's enough. Sometimes it has to be.